Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the On Growth Podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking with Hannah from Kickoff Labs, and we're going to be talking about best practices for prizes. We recently published a blog post with the ultimate list of prize ideas, depending on your business and the holiday and things to think about. And we kind of wanted to walk through that post and add some context to it and maybe just throw out some unique ideas that we've heard and seen for people running in competitions with Kickoff Labs, because one of the questions that seems to hold people up when setting up a competition is like, oh, well, what do I give away? Or like, what would entice people to like complete a task, or like what would get them to share with their friends? And so, I figured we can have this conversation. We can publish it with the blog post and send it out to everybody so they can get their ideas going with what they're doing. So Hannah, thanks for joining me again.
Of course.
I'm curious, have you ever won a competition like this, like a giveaway, online or in person?
I have very weird luck. I win giveaways really often, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Do you have any examples of giveaways you've entered and won?
Yeah. Locally, we have a really cool comedy show place, and I win at least once a month a free show. Random stuff like that, where you play a game and you win that way, or you do the big email lead where you just put in your email and phone number and you luck out and win. But I don't have as much luck with the ones that are very specific with like action taking. I'm not as lucky there.
But like the random draws, you're pretty good luck on the random draws.
Absolutely, yeah. When they say we're going to use the random winner picker, that's me.
Nice. That's cool. I don't have much luck with those. I feel like I enter them a lot and I don't win. I could probably win a lot of online competitions in Kickoff Labs if I cheated, but that would be unfair. But I don't have much luck. I've won one in-person giveaway, and it was way back when I was going to like a job fair, and they're giving away a set of Sonos speakers, and I won the grand prize of the Sonos speakers from the job fair, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I used those for years, so I always remember the job fair from it. But
it's funny to be in this industry and not have luck.
Yeah, no, I understand how it all works. I just can't win those things. What you brought up is an interesting point, which is I hear from customers sometimes say like, oh, well, I'm a small business, like, what could I give away? And like, well, maybe not that many people enter. And I think what's important to remember is with that is like in the case of like the comedy club is a small business, like you might feel like you're winning pretty frequently, and maybe they do have a bunch of winners, but for them, just like, the cost of giving you a ticket once a month and the goodwill of like, you'll bring somebody, you might spend extra money there. Like the benefits to them probably are worth doing that, even if maybe there's only 20 entrants in a month, right? And they pick one winner. The 20 people entered, they had fun. The one person who won brings a friend. Like there's all sorts of benefits that people don't realize, even for small, I'd call them like micro contests for business, like in our case, because we handle contests from like 20 people entering to like 1 million people entering. And like on that scale, I always want to encourage people, you probably should enter just your local businesses competitions, A, to support a local business, and B, you have a higher chance of winning. I just know that from looking at the numbers from the contests that we see running on Kickoff Labs, that supporting a small business is also potentially good if you're interested in winning some of the competitions.
Oh, yeah. And it makes you such a loyal customer. I mean, the place here, it's a small comedy club, but it's relatively famous. So it's always super, super busy with big headliners. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to win, but not many people are interacting with them socially. So I was like, you know what? Let's see. And I test my luck every single week. And every time I buy merchandise, food, drinks, I bring tons of friends. Usually they give you 4 tickets, but you also pay a service fee to be using all the stuff. And there's a minimum on consuming food. So either way, you're going, but they're still profiting in a small way, but it's still kind of exciting because, you didn't pay for your ticket.
Yeah. And I'd say like just to transition, as my smooth transition here into what we're talking about, like that prize category falls directly into like you're just giving away your product. right? That sort of, if you've got a product like that, if you are, a restaurant, maybe you can give away a meal. If you're if you're a comedy club, obviously you can give away tickets, or like a concert venue, you can give away tickets to some of the popular events, or a popular event, or even like maybe not so popular event. You don't know who's interested in winning. But just like that sort of like the easy category for businesses big and small is that if you've got something that people are going to pay for, just to choose like that as your reward. The common question that gets asked is like, well, how much should I give away? Like, what should the value of the prize be? And we've had some people give us suggestions there. I don't know if you want to chime in with the suggestions we've heard about like the, amount you would give people or consider spending on rewards.
I think it depends on what kind of contest they're doing, but with a lot of the waitlist ones, I guess those have varied a lot too. So a lot of times we'll either see something big like Haugen Racing, where his had have been at least $1,000 prize, but it was something so specific to his people that he knew that it was worth it because he was getting interaction from people like that would just be all about him once they won, as opposed to saying, I'm just going to give you $1,000, then anybody's going to enter, and that really doesn't do much for your business. So like I've seen a huge range in recommendation from a bigger ticket item, but more specific to your brand, or something that's exciting to people who follow your brand that can be smaller. And again, things like tickets and stuff like that. I feel like the range though we've typically seen is about $250, $350 as the dollar amount if they wanted to calculate it. Unless it's a huge wait list and they go a little bit higher than that.
Yeah, I think for giveaways for businesses, that's what we've seen recommended from other people we've had on the podcast is if you're like a online store or like a restaurant or something, like a restaurant might give away a meal or like a meal for four, which might range somewhere between like $100 to $200. If you're an online store, it might make sense, or even a local store, to give like a $250 gift card to the store, like something where people could get something complete out of it is sort of the goal.
Yeah.
Like either a complete outfit, a complete meal, a complete experience. Like you said, there might be add-ons they have to pay for, but giving people something where it's valuable enough to enter, where they're not just like getting a discount and they still have to like pay a ton of money on top, where it looks like to them like, oh, this is a complete experience. And so, going through our post, we talk about like gift cards up to $250. One competition by a company called Hip Kids, which is a company that had like a boutique store for children's items. They're giving away a complete kids room package with some furniture, and it was like valued at $639. That's kind of a bigger thing, but it's also like directly within their brand. It's a complete set that they were giving away with the competition. And then we've seen some other ideas where people are giving away X amount of dollars per referral to their email list. And so you're thinking about $5 per referral to your email list, and you can cap it at a certain amount. Is something that people can do. So you can say like $10 per person you refer to our store, capped at 5 people, and then that kind of eliminates some of the risk. And so these are these are primarily things like larger rewards. And so I was talking to a customer today, and they are launching a service. So getting away from the store thing more to like a business, they're launching a software service to help people applying for jobs online and to keep track of their applications, like from the side of the person applying, to keep track of their applications, to see what's working for them, to mark the status of the applications, and they'll tie into like LinkedIn and other job boards so that they can come back and say like, here's where your applications are working, here's where they're not working. And so they were like, oh, well, what do we give for a prize? And my suggestion there, because they are a wait list, would be one, a common thing for a wait list for a service like that, since they already have the product at least available on a limited basis, is to just give people as a reward for some referrals instant access as a prize. And that works really well because it's like, oh, like you just get 3 referrals and you get instant access. So people have a concrete idea what they're going for. And then for a giveaway, to that, what we were talking about doing was setting up a giveaway where they work with a partner to come up with resume building services. So that might be like a $500 resume building package. Again, it's something that's complete that they can just give away.
I know it's daunting with a business like that or a restaurant or something like that when you start and you're not sure what you're supposed to give away, so you immediately go to, well, I guess I have to give away something expensive. I have to buy some crazy random something that has nothing to do with my company, because how am I supposed to give them something that makes sense? Mm-hmm. But when you put it in terms of just finding something that your customers are already looking for, it doesn't even have to be, I guess, technically your product, but something that helps with your product or goes hand in hand with your product like that. Yeah. It's really smart to bring them in that way. And it makes it a lot simpler instead of jumping in and being like terrified that you have to spend all this money and do something crazy.
Absolutely. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was the holidays are coming up. So it's October 4th is the day we're recording this. As you point out to me, that means Halloween is coming up. That means Thanksgiving in the U.S., and around the world, Cyber Monday, Black Friday, Christmas, New Year's. Like it's the whole season, and everyone out there is vying for advertising attention. And so if you're running a contest, you'll have a leg up because you're getting more engagement out of the advertising you're doing. Maybe pick sort of your favorite sort of themed, what's your favorite sort of themed prize idea people could give away for one or more of these holidays?
I think for Christmas, it just sticks out every time to me that it's really fun when people theme something towards like a self-care package, because like you said, all these holidays are coming up and it's a lot. But I always think it's really cool if it's some kind of self-care for you and a friend. It's so easy to do, so easy to give away. You make it Christmas themed and put hot chocolate in there and make it kind of like a cozy package. So simple, but worth winning, especially if it's from whatever company it is. Like there's, for example, I received last year, it's the brand Comfy. It's like this obnoxious, oversized hoodie that's really cozy and comfy and makes you happy. And if a brand like that were to do this, having one of those as the giveaway and then some kind of like Christmas themed candles and hot chocolate would be a killer prize.
No, absolutely. I think like tied to your brand as much as possible. I mean, there's some cases where like the holiday is not going to tie to your brand. Like, if you're talking about Halloween, it could tie to your brand if you're like a food, company and you're giving away like, subscription meal boxes, or you're just giving away some sort of like food items or cooking items. Like obviously it's easy, like throw in some candy as a prize or like some sort of prize package with desserts. Like something like that is really easy. And then you add in some prizes that maybe aren't from your brand, package them together with a prize that's from your brand so customers can see the relation. And it's something they want. And as you said, they're getting the sweatshirt and the other self-care items.
I've seen a lot for Halloween, at least locally here, people give away just experience packages, since we have so many different pop-ups for Halloween that are kind of pricey, they're inclusive. They have different drinks, snacks, stuff like that come with the ticket. So even something like that, it's random brands that doesn't really match their brand, but it's really exciting because it's the holidays and you're getting a whole experience out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing you mentioned that I wanted to remind people of is you mentioned the concept of like, if you're giving something away, consider saying that like you and your friend get it. Because with Kickoff Labs, we can track referrals of friends, and it's become, I think, a really smart mechanic to say when you invite your friend, if they win, you'll win. So you have motivation to invite the friend, not only because you get more entries in the competition, but because if your friend wins, then you'll win. And so consider doubling your package at the end. So you can say, hey, there's two of them. So like if you brought in somebody and they win, don't worry, because we're going to give it to you as well. And I think that helps people. And it's also in the spirit of like a Thanksgiving competition. So if you were going to run a Thanksgiving competition, I would really encourage people to do a giveaway where the friend also wins. You know, you're grateful for your friends, and you want to bring them along, and in the spirit of giving, and give to them as well. Which brings me to Thanksgiving competitions. So we're in the process of releasing some Thanksgiving specific competitions, themes. So they're nice and fun. They're branded with some Thanksgiving that you can mix with your brand. It feels very fall-y. There's leaves in the design, everything you can imagine that you can't see on the podcast. But the themes are really interesting. And we've had some ideas that we've been going with, and one of them is, people getting people just to, this gets away from the prize a little bit, but a little bit more of the engagement is you ask people to share what they're grateful for, or share their favorite Thanksgiving recipe. And that might tie into like you'd give away, a cookbook or something like that. For Thanksgiving, you'd give away, a cooking package, like something that's, tied to like a holiday or designed around eating and being grateful. And so like, we've had these contest ideas, around like sharing a story, and that's something with Kickoff Labs you can do where they can enter and then share. And just a bonus best practice that we've seen from people is as people share these stories, you curate the best ones. You send out an email with like, hey, here's people's best recipes that they sent us, or here's people's best stories, to keep people engaged. And you're creating this two-way conversation out of the competition, not just running the competition as a very like, transactional sort of like, I enter, I win, I don't talk to you again, sort of affair.
Yeah, especially when you're a small business, that engagement is super important. Plus, people sharing your stuff and then saying something positive with it, that's just psychology. Seeing something positive beside your brand from one of your friends, whether it's a recommendation or not, that puts a really good taste in people's mouths just in general, that it's more than just a giveaway when it comes to especially holiday giveaways and a thankful holiday, and that it's not just a money grab, but something that is related to your brand.
So what about a shopping holiday like Cyber Monday? What kind of prizes or mechanics have you seen brands do for a Black Friday, Cyber Monday kind of affair?
When I did my giveaway, it was one of those with Kickoff Labs. And some of the biggest things that I feel like people will fight for are the early access or early spot in line, if it's in person, whatever it is, the early code to your website, something like that. A better discount. That's one of the things where discount is kind of okay. You get that better discount for whatever the item is, or you have your name put in the drawing for whatever your top shopped item is, because a lot of Black Friday items, people are coming to that store because there is a specific item that they are waiting for and they want.
Yep.
So whatever that specific item is, doing that. I know my brand we added a trip because Black Friday is exhausting for everybody. So we did a trip and then a quick small shopping spree, but the shopping spree had to be Black Friday items, not regular store items. So then it encouraged them to come to Black Friday.
Oh, that's really neat. And it makes me think like the reserve your spot in line, the early access. We have a lot of people that, even outside of like a shopping holiday like Black Friday, like we're an early chance to buy, people that are setting up, pre-launch Kickstarter campaigns. That's a really popular prize, is say, hey, the people who are higher up on the wait list for this pre-launch campaign are going to have access to the early bird specials on Kickstarter before anyone else, because there's always a limited quantity of like, a chance to purchase at that price. And, when I first saw people doing this, I'm always skeptical because I never win competitions. So I said to myself, like, who wants an earlier chance to buy something? Like, it's just an earlier chance to spend your money. And like,
right.
I run a contest software company, but I'm naturally skeptical of these things because I don't win, as he said earlier. But sure enough, that mechanic does work really well. And it's a really popular prize to say, like, if you have special access or exclusivity to a discount or an experience that other people aren't going to get, it becomes a really good thing to give away either as a prize or as something that people can earn, in the case of the Kickstarter, like by being near the top of the wait list store. as you in your case, like a prize of a chance where people can just become first in line or get there first.
There is a shockingly big niche for exclusivity. I know people that they'll go out of their way, they'll pay whatever the extra is, whatever drop it is. They don't have to see what the product is. If they get to be first, for some reason, that just pulls them in. And so that always does surprise me it's a really successful method, especially to encourage people to engage and talk about it, because they want to talk about being the first one on the list, that you have to wait. And maybe they get a referral code for later on and they kind of feel like an influencer for you and they feel special. And it's just a really nice, like, easy benefit that you can get out of doing that.
Something that we've been talking a lot about, like consumer oriented prizes, and there's a whole section in the blog post about business to business, about business to business idea for prizes. And this is something I hear from folks of like, oh, like I run a business, or I'm targeting like other businesses. Like, is it even worth running a contest? Like, what would I give away? Like, it's, and people get stuck on that, but there's a whole wealth of things. And the first thing I want to point out, and I'll send it over to you for like to walk through some of the ideas, is that nowadays, like business to business, the purchase decisions may be made by somebody higher up who's not influenced by the prizes, but the recommendations to purchase something are always made by individuals. And like now that we're in an age of like Slack and like Microsoft Teams, and like the people choosing to use those pieces of software are being invited by their friends. They're being encouraged to try out the pieces of software. It's no longer just like somebody at the top says like, now we're just using this, and like there's no other chance for other software to get in the door. Like there's a chance for other software companies to get in the door at larger businesses, because the purchases really are like, individuals are a big factor, and you can motivate individuals with some rewards. So what are some of the things that we talked about in the blog post for business to business ideas?
I can say that as somebody who's doing the marketing, like, I know you're not constantly looking at stuff like that, but if there was some kind of tech company that had a SaaS product that worked with us, and they reached out and they said, hey, enter our contest, or get on our wait list, or try our product for free, we would look into it, And it's that, like, it's more of the software demo that would be attractive and appeal to the professionals that are in the industry that you're looking towards. Again, less likely that the reward is as much of an exciting thing, but if the reward is something like a membership and you get that trial, so you get to see if that's something you're actually interested in, it's a really good way to bring people in, as opposed to giving away something that's top dollar. And we kind of did something similar. I know it was for customers. But on the flip side, if we had done a very similar contest to what we did, we could have branded for other companies as well, small businesses. I mean, our customers are business owners and on that side, and we specifically gave away those business accounts and free demos and conversation.
Yeah, no, this is exactly what we talked about in the blog post, which is we mentioned, so to kind of recap some of the stuff that was in there as well for B2B. If you're a B2B person thinking about prizes to give away, people strangely liked the branded merchandise. I know this was a competition with our customers, but I think we got the most positive responses from people that were getting our mugs. So we came up with a branded mug with a slogan that said Boss Marketer on it with our logo. And people like getting those. Some of the other things we've seen people give away, you mentioned like the free consultation, the free membership for a limited time. The other thing that has value to people is like anything that helps improve like their usage of the product or their things. So like free online courses, like an online course about how to do this thing that may feature your product, or a free coaching session or informational session with your product. And so, as an expert, if in your software space, like people value that personal attention. So you say like, we're going to give you guys this personal attention as part of something you can earn, or participating or recommending a friend. We'll give the personal coaching session to you and the friend. are is a good example of things a B2B company to do. And just, the cases where, there might be some sort of prize that relates to the brand still that there. And then what you mentioned before is like if they're related software companies, so finding products that aren't competitive with yours, but are, products your customer uses, because there's not even today, there's not one piece of software that does everything a business needs. So your customers are always using, between 3 to 10 other pieces of software or more at their company. And if you have an idea of like what are 2 or 3 of those other businesses, you could reach out to those other businesses and do a joint promotion where you get to email each other's mailing list, you get to talk about it, co-promoting, you get to get that engagement across the 3 brands is something to look for to do if you're a B2B company there.
Even if it were saying we're a small business and we know that we're working with small businesses that need to learn a little bit more about advertising and marketing, because that's what you need to know to use our product, and then sending them to some kind of conference, like getting them a ticket to a conference that's not through you, or something that's informative that they can see that's not through you. Or just like bringing them into the conversation. If you did something like with us having an influencer, or not an influencer, combining with someone like ConvertKit. So we've got an email platform that we highly recommend, that we really like to use, and working with their audience and our audience, and having that trial between the 2 of us. I feel like that would be really beneficial for random people that are looking into the company.
Is it possible to give away prizes if you're in a regulated space, let's say alcohol or cannabis, or in a regulated space? Have we seen people give away prizes if you're a business that has a product that's under some form of regulation?
Yeah, I mean, we had our one company, I cannot remember their name, but that did the 420 giveaway. That was wildly successful for them. And
they were a chain of local dispensaries. Don't have the name in front of me right now, but they ran a chain of cannabis dispensaries.
Yes, and that was cool. They did it as a wait list, and they gave away product. They just made sure it was only in their state, certain age. They were very limited, very specific about their targeting. Plus, they had to go around a lot of ad territory, so they obviously couldn't use just strictly Google ads and stuff like that, because there's a lot of censorship. So they were able to use programs specifically for that industry. And a lot of professionals in those industries are aware of the rules and the difficulties of it, but it's definitely possible. And you don't necessarily have to give away those things. You can give away merch involving those things, which is legal anywhere.
Yeah. So we talked about in the post, like that could be like, party supplies, or like if you're throwing a party, like you could give away that's related to the space, in that location. And then like if they wanted to give away their product, which in this case they did, they wanted to give people gift cards to the product. As you said, what they did was they just made sure to follow the rules, which was you had to show up in the store to redeem it. You couldn't just go. Obviously, they don't really have online sales. Or maybe they did have local delivery, but I think still to ensure it, they made sure that the winner had to show up in the store to claim their prize, so that they could validate IDs and make sure they were a resident of the state and able to purchase from the dispensary. And that ended up being really successful for them. In terms of getting people to mention the store online, getting people to tell their friends about it. And they said they had a lot of people just coming into the store because of the competition, looking to redeem the gift cards that they'd gotten as part of the participation.
Yeah. And with products like that, it almost opens up for more entertaining, funny marketing. And it definitely brings in the conversation where people, even if they're just winning merch or something like that, it's probably funny merch. It's probably something interesting, and it brings them into just realizing there's a cool company that they want to see, want to check out, and they'll tell their friends about. Or if there's events, because I'm sure there's cannabis events. I know when I ran a brewery, we would give away tickets to brewery events and festivals. So either way, you still had to be of age, and then the company itself that was hosting the event would be the people that manage the legality of it. So we could kind of have our hands clean of that as well. So you're not so worried about the age frame and all of the really heavy legal details.
Awesome. So just we're at the 30-minute mark, and I wanted to kind of wrap this up here. So so far we've talked about from kind of pulling from this blog post we'll link to in the show notes, the ultimate list of prizes. Some of the things we've talked about are, if you're giving away something really large, try and keep it as branded to your audience as possible. So that was the example of Hagen Racing giving away a racing simulator kit. If you're a smaller business, local store, smaller online store, considering like prizes that are valued in like the the $100 to $250 range, where it can be a complete experience for someone, whether it's like a complete outfit, a complete dinner out. We talked about some holiday examples of prizes, including like self-care. And we talked about, B2B, the B2B prizes, which, can be like, education or related products or conference tickets that people would value. And then, we talked about some of the restricted space stuff, which obviously, making sure you're following all the local rules. And, in your example, like for the breweries, like having somebody manage that for you at the event or giving away events or related prizes. I think these are all great ideas. I encourage everyone to check out the blog post that Hannah posted for some more ideas. And just, if you want to reply to this episode or the email that'll go out with this episode and let us know your favorite prize idea, we'd love to hear it. But thanks for listening, and we can't wait to help you set up your contest at Kickoff Labs.